What's going on, guys? It's your boy CryptoCast bringing you a roundup of 2021's crypto. What a year it's been, and highs, lows, all sorts of emotions. And as expected with crypto, you're going to get exaggerated moves. You're going to get plenty of new entrants, especially as we reach new market highs. Same thing happened 4 years ago, where you saw a ton of new people come into the market, a ton of people that basically thought crypto was their chance to become rich. There's no risk. You can do whatever you want to do, buy whatever you want to buy, and you'll make it. And interestingly, some people did. Some people became billionaires, or on paper billionaires. One, I guess, that comes to mind is the Shiba billionaire that hasn't accessed or recently accessed his wallet, maybe a couple of months back or in December, and it's worth 5 billion at the peak of the market. But obviously that's not for everyone. But in general, it's been a crazy year. So many things have happened. There's been so many moving parts. But in summary, I'd say that it's been a really successful year for crypto as a whole, for Bitcoin in particular. But just generally the market appetite from institutional investors, from regular investors like yourself and me. There's more and more eyes on crypto. I think it's going to be a fascinating year ahead in 2022. But before we go to 2022, and I will do a video in the coming days of my kind of not forecast or prediction, but on pricings or anything like that, but just generally what I'm expecting from the year. That will come out in the next couple of days, but I really want to do a roundup of 2021, the stuff that we've seen, the highlights, the lowlights, and everything in the middle. But as you can see in front of us here, we have the chart for Bitcoin from the start of the year all the way to the end. We actually entered the year just around 29K on the 1st of Jan 2021. Crazy to think it's been a whole year where we've been, I'd say, ranging. I'd say it's a positive range, however, because we've moved higher. We're balancing up here. On the grand scale, we can see we're making higher lows on the longer time frame here as well. I'm not really doing any deep technical analysis here at all, but just here what we can see in the overall year chart. The bit I didn't like is we made this high here, all good, sold off, and then this high here was kind of rubbish. Barely managed a 10% break above the previous all-time high. But at the end of the day, when people are expecting crazy things to happen, sometimes they just won't, because if the whole market or the retailers are all saying it's going to become 100K this year by the end of December 2021, chances are the institutions or the bigger players, the whales, will say no. We're going to take you down first. We're going to shake it all out. We're going to get you out of the zone, pull you out of the picture, and take it up ourselves. So always have to look at the bigger picture before kind of mapping things out. But as usual, as not financial advice, of course, as all my videos aren't, but the safest way to play it, if you do believe in crypto, if you do believe in Bitcoin as a whole, safest way to play it is to dollar cost average, whether that's every week, every month. That way, you're not trying to time the market and trying to catch these bottoms, like trying to buy this here in May or September, trying to buy this here in July, trying to sell the top here in April, trying to buy this bottom in Jan. Like, you're not going to catch all of them. Even experienced traders have struggled. So there is obviously technical analysis you can do with Bitcoin, with any of the other cryptos, but as a newbie investor, safest way to play it, dollar cost average, or just look into dollar cost average. So without further ado, let's have a look at some of the main headlines through the year. So we'll start here with, this is in Feb, and this is where things started to really heat up. Obviously, we'd already broken through the previous high from the last cycle earlier or later into 2020. And this really started to exaggerate things into the early part of 2021. Tesla bought a ton of Bitcoin, were holding it in their balance sheet, and obviously we know what happened further down the line. There's all sorts of stuff where they were accepting Bitcoin, then they stopped accepting Bitcoin. But obviously, one of the biggest headlines at the start of the year, and it just kind of sent a really strong message out in terms of what other institutions, S&P 500 companies may do going forward. Apple, I believe, had made some sort of statement along the lines that it may happen in the future. Who knows what they could be developing? Obviously, they've got Apple Pay. There may be an easy way for them to build functionality to send payments between iMessage users. Who knows? At the end of the day, they've got probably a great way to roll something out. Whether they actually build their own crypto project, I doubt that, but there may be some sort of functionality into Apple Pay that could be developed over time. But I'm expecting more and more organizations to come out over the next kind of 12 months with similar headlines. And the more that do say something similar, the better it is for us as long-term hodlers. The next one, let me move over to this NFT buzz that happened. Obviously, the first NFT projects, I think, were around 2017. Cryptopunks has been around for a while. But in that first period of 2021 is where things really took off. And we saw Beeple's NFT project sell for 69.3 million in March. And I believe it's a chap in Singapore that bought it. I can't quite remember his name, but they're doing some interesting things in the crypto space. So look into that. I'd advise you, whenever you see something interesting, try and find out who's behind it. There's been some great rises in Cryptopunks and Bored Apes, and all other projects are getting attention, and then you started to see it peak off. But I'll go into another article related to NFTs too shortly. But it's just crazy. NFTs have taken the headlines. I think they will continue to take headlines, whether they will be just for JPEGs or whether they'll start to build in more utility, and we'll start to see some more fun things go on that. I think VFriends was a really interesting project that Gary Vaynerchuk launched with utility built into it. They interestingly did a drop with Mattel for Uno cards. I think that was in December 2021. So it's interesting. There's going to be more innovation. There's going to be more thought around how to build utility and what can be done around NFTs going forward, whether that's properties of any sort, not just actual real estate, but it could be any sorts of property that can be registered as an NFT. So let's see where that one goes this year. I'm excited to see it. And I'll talk a bit more about this in the 2022 video. The next big one I want to talk about is the Coinbase IPO. This is back in April, where they started to, I guess this was the biggest thing I'd say for main markets, or the biggest thing for crypto in main markets. The Coinbase IPO really allowed crypto to get recognized as being legitimate. I think up until then, there was a lot of people discrediting it. A lot of people saying it's a bit risky. We don't know if it's going to last. But something like Coinbase coming onto the main markets at a huge market capital. And obviously, we know it's not performed as well initially, but Kathy Woods has been throwing money, gradually building up her stake of Coinbase. I think it's going to be another interesting one over the next 12 months to see how Coinbase performs. But they've done great, Coinbase, on their own accord. And obviously, I think they're going to do a lot more innovation going forward, whether that's with the NFT side, wallets, all sorts of stuff that I can imagine them bringing out and making our lives in crypto a lot easier, because I think it's been tough, I think, especially for US and UK citizens to get your money in, and a lot of regulatory aspects. A big organization like Coinbase coming out and trying to do things in the right way, hopefully, and other big exchanges, whether that's Gemini or I know Binance has had its regulatory issues over 2021, sorry. But I think this will help the long-term cause, and I hope they're working alongside governments to make it easier for us going forward to just get our money in. It's an investment at the end of the day. I don't want to be restricted with the investments I make, whether that's main markets or crypto. So great piece of news, I think, for 2021 is the Coinbase IPO. And then, obviously, all of this started. Dogecoin. Dogecoin, I can't even remember. Let's have a look what Dogecoin did, because it was absolutely crazy. Market cap is 22 billion. 22 billion, which puts them at number 12. It's ludicrous. But yeah, this is what happened. So it was worth 1 cent or less than 1 cent as we came into the year. And boom, it went all the way up to 67, 70 cents, let's say 70 cents. Crazy, 70x. People have obviously been holding it a lot longer. And if we go even further back, then you can see there's more and more zeros before that. But yeah, crazy. Look, people have made a lot of money off of Dogecoin. But if you look at the dates here, where did it peak? It was just about, if I go to the 1 year chart again, it was just around the 7th of May. And what is this? The 9th of May is when Dogecoin was mentioned by Elon on SNL, Saturday Night Live, and it was classed as a hustle. It was a really weird skit that they did, but feel free, you go onto this Crypto Globe, you'll actually see it built in. You can watch the whole video. It was a bit weird, especially given that he's been holding, he's kind of trolling Doge, he's kind of trolling crypto as a whole. I don't quite understand what Elon's stance is about crypto. I don't know whether he's bullish, I don't know whether he's bearish, I don't know whether he still holds anything, but he's an intelligent guy. He's been part of the PayPal journey, or a big part of the PayPal journey. So he understands digital money, obviously not in the form that we're seeing today, but he's an intelligent guy and understands what crypto is probably trying to do. And he's probably obviously got his own concerns and may have his own view on how things should be done, and may even have a way forward that is better than the current system. But this SNL piece marked basically the top. There was so much hype around Dogecoin being mentioned by Elon on SNL. SNL was being mentioned all over Twitter. Elon was being mentioned all over Twitter a couple of weeks before the SNL show went live. And it was kind of became, I guess for me, it became obvious that we were going to be hitting that top, because you had everyone and their kids and their grandkids talking about how Dogecoin is going to go to $1 because it's going on SNL. And when everyone expects something, chances are it's not going to happen. So another one. So always be careful of what's going on, who's talking about certain things. Have your pulse in the right places. Find the right people to listen to. And if the wrong people are talking about something likely to happen, chances are you want to get out. As always, we have a lot of issues around the Chinese ban of crypto. So they had another mining ban reiterated in 2021. There was a ton of migration for the machines to places like Texas, Canada, all over the place. But obviously, they have their own idea of what they want in their country. China have their own central bank digital currency that they're rolling out. Whether it works or not, who knows? But at the end of the day, they've got their own stance on what they want to do. I can't even remember how many times they've mentioned that they're banning crypto in China, and I take it as it's a grain of salt. Just see it, read it properly, see what they're trying to do. I don't think they really can do anything about it. At the end of the day, there's too many moving parts. There's too many people involved. It's decentralized. I don't really think they can do anything to really eliminate crypto. And I don't think especially as this happens more and more and more, the impact on price should gradually diminish. This one is one of the biggest ones, I think, for the year in terms of what people were talking about. El Salvador making Bitcoin legal tender on September the 7th. This was mentioned in July. And basically, they've had a number of problems with their local currency. They were adopting Bitcoin because it made things a lot easier for them in their country to transact and pay for goods and services, and even pay for taxes in crypto as well. It's interesting. If you follow the El Salvador president, prime minister, I don't know which one it is, but it's hilarious. He's so bullish on Bitcoin, and I'm pretty sure he's got a huge portfolio himself. But yeah, it's a funny account. Interestingly, just this morning, I think he was tweeting something about how to actually solve the current crisis that we're in with coronavirus, and he was just saying have a healthy diet, which is, I think, is the first country that's actually promoting that out of any other ones. The government seems to have completely forgotten that they need to tell people to eat healthily, go for a run, be healthy, work out, have water, go in the sun, get your vitamin D's, get your other vitamins. Anyway, let's not have a corona-based conversation, but just generally, I think there'll be more and more economies that explore the route of using crypto going forward as an alternative to their currency, because it will be less risky, less volatile. So let's keep an eye out for what else may be happening in that space over the next 12 months. Okay, so as usual, we're always on the pulse with things that are happening with hacks. We want to know what's going on. We want to know if there are any protocol kind of instabilities, any vulnerabilities that they may have, and things like this can help longer term as well. So this one was with Poly Network, and it's a huge amount. I believe the hackers returned all of the funds, and they would try and say, look, this is a potential way of hacking, and I don't think they wanted to exploit the system to take the money. But I think, again, we look at these and no one wants to see hacks. And I think as quantum computing comes out, I believe that's a bit more of a fear that as that happens, there may be more vulnerabilities in terms of hacking the system and things like that. But at this point in time, I don't like to see, especially if there's a new competing network being hacked. And we saw it with Solana, even had, I think this was the next one that we've got, but this is back in August, and we had another issue with Solana in September, and that had to close down the whole network. And obviously Solana, it gave me concerns about whether it's actually a centralized network or who has the power to just kind of turn things off. But they basically had a large increase in the transactions, and it overwhelmed the network. So I guess it's a good thing that it got to that point of wider adoption, but we don't want to see things struggle. We don't want to see things break from being overutilized or getting to max capacity. I think this is where it's interesting in the next kind of 12 months as well. Who really wins that race for being that Ethereum killer? If you follow the video on the 2022 piece, I'll probably talk a little bit about this. I haven't recorded it yet, but it will be out in the next couple of days, as I mentioned. So subscribe below if you want to tune into that. But I have my views on what the Ethereum killer is going to be. And who knows, if you want to put a comment down below, you can tell me what your idea of what the Ethereum killer is going to be as well. I've really liked Solana, though. I think last year was a great moment for Solana, where they really saw a lot of development and growth. NFT started to launch on that. I don't think they've done as well as I would have hoped. I think Ethereum still held. number one by a long shot, even though the gas fees were going crazy. So it indicates to me that people aren't looking to leave the Ethereum network for NFTs. Not quite yet. There's not enough of a pull elsewhere. So even though the fee structure for Solana and some of the other platforms is just so much lower, Phantom, tiny fees. So who knows? There may be a shift in 2022, but I think there's more that has to be done before we see that shift from, especially NFTs. I don't think they're going on to any other platform or any other chain anytime soon. Let me move on to the next one. The War of the Dogs. This one's been crazy. This is back in October, but we saw Shiba Inu flip Dogecoin after 12% surge, and they made it to the top 10. It's crazy. These things that happen are absolutely mental. When I saw Dogecoin do it initially early in the year, I was thinking there's no way something else is going to happen. This is just a one-off. To see this just shows how a community of people can really just build momentum. We've seen it with NFTs. We've seen it with other smaller projects that have suddenly just blown up. But this one is just mental. To go to top 10, I never expected it. It's made people billionaires within a year. It's crazy to think, but at the same time, there was something happening earlier in October that was making me think this is the target. They flipped, and I think that's the end of the road. I don't think there's a longer term horizon of Shiba Inu being worth more than Dogecoin. I think it was just a matter of let's make this happen. Let's do this as a collective. Let's just put our middle fingers up to the finance and crypto world and say, look, we are so powerful together. And I think at the end of the day, whether there'll be utility or not going forward, whether it's not going to be used anywhere, really, is it? No one's going to really be trading anything in Shiba Inu or Dogecoin going forward to buy anything. Or maybe they will. Maybe Tesla will start accepting Dogecoin as a genuine format of payment. Probably not. But yeah, it's crazy. That's one of the biggest things that's happened this year. I think in terms of psychology of what's happening, Shiba went again. If we have a look here, it went catabolic. Sitting at number 13 still, so it's just below Doge. It's still trading at 18 billion market cap. Wow. Shows how much I know, right? But yeah, even crazier because look, it was worth literally, what's that? There's so many zeros there to even consider. And then it's done this and it's taken off and 3 or 4 zeros and spiked all the way up. And that's where they had their moment of overtaking Doge. Interestingly, the charts don't look too bad because we're at they're holding this price up quite well. We could see another spike up this early part of the year. I've not even really looked at this chart, but this is quite interesting. Have a look at this. Keep an eye on this because I think this could be an interesting territory for things to turn. We could see once there is a bit more momentum in the crypto markets, we could see something turn in this and we could see another attempt at breaking this high. But again, what do I know? Shiba Inu communities may have something else planned. You guys may be moving to another dog coin, cat coin, fish coin, whatever it might be. Another one, Squid Game. Obviously, the show took everyone's attention when it was on Netflix. And then there was this coin that came out. And people were just like, oh, yeah, I'll chuck a bit of money in Squid. I don't know if you have. I don't know if you've never heard of this before. But again, look out for this one. This was in October. October 20th, pre-sale, and it went all the way up to $2,861. I don't know where it started, but it dropped to zero like this. There's a great video on someone's YouTube live, I think it was, where he was actually doing some trading analysis, and live on screen, he captured the moment where the rug was pulled and the price went to zero. So just be careful of what you're putting your money into. At the end of the day, it's your money, but don't just let the money go to waste on a project that isn't worth anything. Don't just put your money in something that will end up going to zero, or put your life savings into something that you don't understand. Like, buy good projects. I know it's so tempting when you have something like this that comes out, or Shiba Inu that goes from 0.000000003 to 0.00008 or whatever it might have been. It doesn't happen for most of these projects. Most of these things are not going to be around in the next 2 years. So big red flags. Keep your eyes out. We reminded time and time again to avoid things like this. But most people will continue getting caught with the hope of making it. Don't let that be you. The last one I just want to mention is the Bored Apes Yacht Club. This one was very interesting because they flipped the floor price for Cryptopunks in December, just before Christmas. The NFT space is super interesting. Cryptopunks was the one that's built the biggest community initially. I think over the last 2-3 months, there's been more and more attention for NFT projects, and I don't fully understand it. It's one of my goals in this year coming to actually understand the space a little bit more. I've got good, solid understanding, but it's like, how do I know what's going to be the next CryptoPunk? I don't quite know it, and I think it's going to be more time and attention spent in the community, because at the end of the day, they had a period where there was such a big difference between the CryptoPunks value and the Bored Apes value in terms of floor value. So for us to get to a point where they actually became equal, and I think these values are a lot higher now. I think they're around 72 or 75 ether. It's crazy to think. Cryptopunks have been around from 2017. Bored Apes, I'm trying to think when Bored Apes was first launched, but was it 2020 or 2021, I believe. But for that all to happen in such a short space of time, again, it's all about utility. Understand what they're trying to do, understand what they're trying to build going forward, understand the collaborations that may be coming out for them, because obviously if Bored Apes or Cryptopunks starts to do things with IRL brands, like your Nikes, your Adidas's, your, I don't know, Apple, whatever it might be, that's when things really start to take off. So that's 2021, guys. It's been a fantastic year, I think. Prices haven't really gone catabolic yet. I still think we have that phase to go. So tune into 2022's video. It's your boy CryptoCast. I'm going to bring you one of these every year at the end of the year, because I love talking about whatever's happened and a little roundup, because sometimes we forget about what's happened this whole year and we're so focused on what's happened in the last week. Crypto changes like this. Every second there's news coming out. Every second you're seeing price moves that are crazy. It can feel like 1 week is a year, but you have to kind of look at the big scale picture, see how far we've come, and then take a whole view for the next year. So that's what we're going to do in the next video. Thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your support. Like, comment, subscribe below, and I'll see you very soon. Peace.